Come on, guys. Come, it's party.
Alright, start with Hagdama as the meetings, the way they work, where we usually have a few Mishagayim organizing meetings, and they're like, getting everyone going, and like everyone follows the crowd.
What's the difference?
Everyone follows the crowd. The way the office works is that the crowd is Vatrim is the crowd. The office is it's not like a hergish. You have different Yavim which are based on hergish, or you have to be hot for a spitz, or whatever you want to hold yourself as. I'm not one of those people. I have different things like that. The office is something which Chassid would have come up with by themselves. But perhaps the everybody's bringing will ask the Rebbe to get a hot donuts. I got them the Chayim, we don't ask for presents. The Rebbe started asking wonderful Chassidim that this is the day you have to bring presents. The Rebbe started off saying the Iker present is in Torah. The Rebbe came up with Moses. But call that Lefin Yoni. That's Bechlat and the fact of sin in Sinsemdi. So the Pel, since we are in Sinsemdi, so whatever that it says comes straight from Sinsemdi. So it has an effect on Sinsemdi more than other places. And Zichron, this is the Yeshiva. So it's not something which is it's telling every single person. And again, it's not something which is there's no organization here. There's no shluchim, there's no food for say the sikhs, and there's no tickets, and it's not those times are over. Yadena daf namzich in the hand, and see what he could do for Yavim. No one has to. If he doesn't have a hergish for it, so he has to look into what the Rebbe says about it. Again, the Yavim is something which the Rebbe gave clear heroish to, and the Rebbe got Chassidim to Kafnet. It wasn't something which came a month on the Ma'ila. Obviously, the Chassidim were giving the Rebbe present before, but it's something the Rebbe Claude spoke about it. So if Mahan Shigas delegation, it's a hero, and it's a natural thing for Chassidim to give the Rebbe present for Yavim. So obviously, we're Bachrim, so there's different sugim of presents the Bachrim gave the Rebbe. Obviously, you have tank parades, and that's Hafaz, to be honest, that's a whole different category. But for Bachrim Mishum Stammer, there's going to be tank parade and Fulham. But I'm not sure the problem about that. But what we can do now is the Hashzach is that there's a yeshiva of Bachrim here, and so Sunday is commonly Hagdaris of what Sunday Bachrim is. Some people think Israeli Sunday Bachrim. This is so Sunday Bachrim is the Bachrim is coming down and are part of the yeshiva. That's the Sunday Bachrim. So if you want to bring a face of the yeshiva, the Rebbe's Bachrim, so we have to come out with a kevitz. Usually the Israelis come on the kevitz, Americans haven't come on the kevitz in quite some time. So I'm going to try and make a kevitz artist. May put up signs already, and this email over there. Just having an email to send the artist to. Stam, the Rebbe spoke back. Artist, the Rebbe does the Yechidus. The Rebbe Feish tell someone that the artist wasn't. Some people think, oh, if I have art, I'll write it down. If I don't have art, then there's no. In other words, there's no Indian looking for artists. The Rebbe Feish tells people in Yechidus that the reason why he came out with artists is if a person knows and wants to, the Rebbe felt the exact lashon, but if a person knows and wants a month for them to try an artist, he's going to learn better, and then a Chumela is going to come out. So the artist was the Rebbe a month to try an artist, and the first times in Lamachet they gave a credit to the Rebbe said all the shifts are joined together. So that's one Indian for one Hatzah, which if you want to do it, we have to get going. There's not so much time left. So the kevitz, the other work was all the Rebbe said Tzachir's Gavin, Shraben notice, use the lashon. So the other end, if he has art, write art. If you don't have art, find art. Find other people to help you find art. Schreibe art. That's one thing that I can think of. Another thing is there's obviously there's Limud Terase, and then there's Indian question listening to those Iranians. I think until you have listened to what we take on, I don't know the exact hours, whatever it is. There's a video here every Thursday night, and there's not a big presence of Bachrim B'chlal, and our type of Bachrim wasn't a big presence. So if the Bachrim was taking a chlata to have a certain amount of hours or 12 hours, I don't know. If you speak to the screen, it'll be like that. But either watch a video or listen to. Everyone goes to release time every week, and on the way you either could sit bullshitting about I don't know what. Or you could listen to Sikha and go through this pulling for Brengins and these listen for Brengins. it's something which for Nicen is having passion kasher with the Rebbe, and even the most gashmic way we could hear the Rebbe, we could see the Rebbe. That's nachazach was to say very it will be a good stam will be good matter and back geben zum Rebbe. So that's what I have to say. And yeah, we lassen das ist beschreiben das Gas bevor ihr wissen. Probably with the Rebbe's assembly real knowledge.
I personally have a picture with Kevin also. I'm a big fan. So I suggest that everyone definitely read artists. But besides for writing artists, there's also other areas of learning that everyone could focus on, especially in Teres Sabenu, and learn something you want to say.
We could say yes, as I just mentioned earlier, that Papashus, the Ikayam of Bachim is a Chlimra Teira. Once you're already talking about Mataras and Limra Teira, it can really go anywhere. Yeah, there's been millions of numbers in different ways and things can be done. But it's not just because it's Hakel also, so if it's like a closed Dikka Matana and Limra Teira, besides for the Kovitz obviously, would also be a work, but obviously it's something which has to come from the Klal, and the Elam has to be obviously bad. So when you're speaking about a matana klal in learning, so klal is there's three ways really you can do it. Either we can make a chalukah in something. Now obviously to split the entire of his Torah into half is not really possible. I started an idea right there, and maybe it's a waste of time. So I think splitting melukit, maybe shayach, but obviously the bachar have to be on board.
What about the
So I think that's very easy. I think to split all the way up to Teriyah, maybe if we had Pesach also, or Purim also maybe, it has to be figured out exactly, or someone has a good idea of the chalukah that is Torah, and that was one thing. Another thing, we can try to learn as a whole 121 of something. So I thought if American 770 as a whole come to Teriyah Nissen with 121 Maimarim with the Rebbe Balpeh, which is Shaykh, but it's also, let's say, your average bacher who's, it was like from the boys, they'll have to put in 2 Maimarim Balpeh, possibly 3, possibly 1, but if every bacher puts in 1 or 2, and those could do 3 Maimarim Balpeh, you could do the same Maimer as your friend, right? Every Maimer is a separate Maimer, and I think we could do 121 Maimarim with the Rebbe Balpeh. I think it's very practical. And it's not something easy, it's not something Shalmabakach. And it's also leading to Avachtos and Hakel, so if the Elam's on board, I think it's a big bar. We should have to have a Pasha Masur Google spreadsheets or something where anytime you finish a Mayim Bapeh, you can send it in, which Mayim you did. That's another way. And the third way, obviously, it all depends if the Elam's on board. And to make in 770, one of the Chalishus is learning the Rebbe Sichos, and it's much because there's always stuff happening at night, whether it's L'chaims, whether it's meetings, whether it's whatever it is. Just till Yirav Nissen, if I think maybe it was done last year, even for Bnei Vesim Shana, if there's episode American Seder Sichos, I'm trying once a week, or even once every 2 weeks in Zal, I push all Americans who have chavrosas and who don't have chavrosas come, push learn the Kutei Sichos 1 night a week. And if there's a l'chaim, whatever, Malasad, it's still going to happen. Now, not after the whole Babish is going. And that's also Indian, so those are the 3 ways I think that learning the Rebbe's Torah we could be Sai B'Ma'achim and Tzad and Sai Matana. So again, if the Elam is ba'at to make some sort of chalukah, if somebody could take care of it, an idea which is shaykh and is also has a mahus, it's like an uftu. Another idea of being 121 more with the Rebbe Balpeh, I think it's very possible, and it also takes some dust. And after I say the sichos once a week, once every 2 weeks, and I have to see what the Elam says, but those are.
Yeah, Nicen all the learning and learning that was Torah and Shavim the Capes and Mechulu. There's the things that come before the learning that prepare you for the learning, that set you up to have a good day of learning. Something that was done could be previously, some Bacham Kaplan in other years. Yes, you want to say something? And again, the singing.
Last year, the Israelis decided, in honor of Meir Shana, they decided to do a mifsa. Obviously, the Israelis did it with prizes. They did a thing that if you show up on time, 7:30 with deal for this, you get $100. And you saw the place was packed. You couldn't find a seat. Every Israeli there. So I thought maybe you would think only Israelis are very nispal, whatever they're very excited. $100 to get them excited, and that's why it was full. 2 weeks, I don't know, a month later, they decided to doing $120, including American. And he was surprised a lot of American Bachrim were there also. And they were there. Now, afterward, they had a paper the next day, said, Mivchan Hamiti, the next day, how many people were going to show up to Siddur. The next day, not only it actually meant to be waking up earlier, a hashking. The next day, there was around 3 Bachrim by Siddur. But, however, yeah, I think it was me, Mayor, and one other Bachrim by Siddur the next day. The guy who sponsored it, he was very shocked. He's like, whoa, what's going on? He was a little bit upset. So at first I thought, like, I didn't, I was like, it doesn't really make sense to me that money would get someone maybe to just wake up. It's a little painful to get up at set, to be there 7:30 b'diuk, where you were marked every morning just for money, get a job, it's a little bit easier. But almost every bacher, yeah, it's easier, you make more money, you get sleep. But almost I think every bacher really wants to show up to Siddur. Just, well, he also wants to sleep. So if you have a little bit of incentive, what happened? There was a little bit of incentive, $100, $120, and it got the Bachrim all excited. The Bachrim Chassidus every morning was packed. Now I hope, this was by Israelis, maybe American a little bit, but I hope by us, if we care about Yidal Nisan a little bit, that it means something to us, the Rebbe's birthday, I hope it means a little bit more than $120, whatever it is. It means enough that it can make us maybe a little bit more, that 7:30 b'diuk, that was on the papers, that maybe we can have, there could be a crowd, 7:70 should be full then. And Seder is not the only Seder, there's Shmer Sadarim. There's 4 star with the you can see on the sign over there. Now they not only they ever tell people to look at the sign over there, now it's even typed, the advancement things for our clients. So there's actually 4 star in the day over there, there's 4 times, there's in the morning at 7:30, there's 11 or 11:30, 11:15, 11:45 Nigla, 3:30 Nigla Bays, there's 8 o'clock Siddur. So the Cheshbon, if you do from today till Yom Nisan, there's around 130 starim altogether. The 4 star day, including Fridays. Someone could try, I don't know, 120, if someone's able to, it would be a part. It would be a thing to try to see 100, to imagine, this is the best, like the best obviously, there are 121 starim on time to be there, or at least some, whatever you do it 1 week, decide 1 week, we're going to do a thing where everyone can show up on time. And not only the individual thing for each person, it makes the whole thing together as a whole. When you have a bunch of bachrim there together, it makes it whether they're learning or not, that's another story, however. But the point is, once they're ready, usually to school, to learn once you show up, not always, but usually. But the point is, when you do that, that itself gives a lot of nachas to that.
Basic to the Shmer Sadarim and the learning. So Mendel mentioned earlier about the chalukas, maybe making chalukas in different areas, all the bachrim together. I was thinking to myself that the Indian chalukah, besides for the school shabbat, that when you learn one thing, then everyone learns, and everyone else learns the other parts. It's as if you learn the whole thing. But it's also a practical thing when you make a chalukah with people that you know, people that you hang out with. What happens is, you may have learned only one, let's say you make a chalukah of the Erev Mechtavim Kolam for Pesach, you may have learned only 2 or 3 of those Mechtavim, but if your friend that you sit for bring with and bullshit with learned all the other ones, definitely you're going to be hearing a lot of the quotes and a lot of the a lot of the message of the other letters together between everyone. So it's a nice idea, besides for the close chalukas that people can make, if people, pratim, 2, 3 guys, 5 guys, 10 guys together, a group of friends, make a chalukah. It doesn't have to be so big, it doesn't have to be 1,000 anythings. Just a small chalukah between each other, as Akhan said this, and this way when you sit down for brain together, you have much more technical for brain, much more technical things and you have a lot more what to share with each other. Just an idea. Again, open mic if anyone has any other ideas, anything else. They get learning, they get meistis, chulu.
Sounds like already intimidating. I'm more to speak, but remember Padesh mentioned before about Padesh mentioned before about every about Bach listening to and watching the Rebbe's brings. So what the Rebbe brings down in last Pasha that it says it's part of Hashem Tiv and printed in other nishn. It wasn't originally printed in the Sefer Chassidus. It's brought in the Bichlach. That Ksev says you can't have a sefer, but Sibaz near Yeshua. There's one mile of learning the Rebbe's Torah, which is printed in a sefer. There's a different mile, a whole different level of learning the Rebbe's Torah, which is literally Sibaz near Yeshua, is to come to the Rebbe, to see the Rebbe, to hear the Rebbe's voice. And right now, nowadays, in our Matziv, Sibaz near Yeshua is to listen and watch the Rebbe's Regens. So, besides for the Bichlal, they play every Thursday night. They play a video, a full Rebbe, Rebbe. And downstairs every night, after Seder, they play Sicha Yemis. But B'chlal, everyone on their own personal level can take upon themselves a certain amount of hours, a certain amount of Hebranians, certain amount of time they can listen, whatever it is, they can take it to listen to the Rebbe's Rebbeinu. So Sai could also become a person of kind of Gashmi when you listen to it a lot. You start getting a real feel for the Rebbe's Kael, the Rebbe's Man, and whatever the Rebbe's Teda. And also, people could do, like I mentioned before, there's everyone can make it a small group of people, either on a Thursday night or a Tuesday night or a Monday night, or like we say in 770, Morgen's Nachanacht. Every person with a few bach sit together, they can learn, listen to a sikha, watch a sikha, learn inside, listen to it afterwards. It's also a good side, also hakel, so this is a way to make a hakel also have a techen, which the hakel also be man yishmu, it's hand the vart, but meaning it should be a ragil, a bacher, that you should have a time that he and his friends sit down, or people himself sits down, and this is stuff bringing one sikha, two sikhas, the whole bringing. But this is a very important likud of Sibbaz and Yeshua, the Pasha had Rebbe's Kael, and hopefully if you listen after Rebbe's Kael, we'll have a night, Per Chadash.
When you get all the learning, we know that at a later stage, like I mentioned earlier, the Rebbe took it from learning to even meistis, and also the meistis. So of course that's bigger for the Askarim, for the Shulchan, but I'm sure also sitting on the Bachrim, we have the pullus that the Bachrim do, and there could be we have every Bacher here, I think every Bacher here goes on release time. And from what I understand, if you speak to the office of release time, there's a still schwachkeit in the recruitment this year, as in comparison to other previous years. Doesn't mean Chashon that we're doing bad, just that we're doing so good that most of the kids are in yeshiva already. But Chol Pachas, there are still a few kids, I'm sure, that are not in yeshiva and we're not reaching. And it could be, I'm not sure if we could tie it to a number, 120, 12, or not a number, but people could try to make goals and real practical goals, or I think Inky Hecht was saying something about maybe trying to make 120 phone calls to parents, whatever, try to shtickle the seders about trying to get more kids on it for release time. It would be Kedai V'Nachim, it would be a very nice thing. I think that it would be something Gishmak for the Nissen.
So those who have been up to date with the Sikhs and Hashem and Beis, so this past week, Hashanah special this year, to reach another 10 Yidden over the next coming days. And it is said that the Iker, referring to the people in 770, and through 770, that goes throughout the entire world. And it says especially since 770 has been going through renovations. So give a round of applause to Mayor Howard for doing. So I'm not working for Expand 770. I think it is that through the fact that Bachrim and 770 have a cup, that brings the cup to the entire world. The fact that the entire world wants to see what are the Bachrim and 770 doing. One of the Inyanim Yuchadim of this year's Nisan, Kochav Shana, Davar Achid Belet, one of the special things about this year is Kochav Aleph is 11 times the Aleph. The Frat, it's the Shnas Hakel. Which Shnas Hakel? It's the 11th Shnas Hakel of the Rebbe's Nesius. It's something it's a very special Yudaf Nisan this year. It's special because of these Inyanim, the Frat, Shnas Hakel, Lang Kol Gol Yishuv Al Inyanim, Koch and the Aleph Nisan, all the Rebbe's Inyanim told you the Aleph Nisan. Afterwards, the Shem Fadim should have the scholars of the Rebbe take it from Yad Mamish.
The days of the Kohen now, there's obviously the mitzvah things. I don't see any of the representatives of the tank office here. There's about like tons of them less the other. But I'm sure there's going to be something to get the tanks, and they're going to need a lot of involvement. To do it, they have a lot of nachzruchim, has a lot of nachzruchim in tanks, and it will be Kedai maybe even this year. Besides for the RVs that the tank office might produce to bring up the parade to 120 vehicles through U-Hauls, which are much easier to arrange, and you don't need so many bachim in each vehicle. Just an idea, maybe if for those that are going to be getting involved, whatever. I'm not sure the problem with that.
City lights count as
rebels.
Again, if anyone has any ideas, if not any hatzahs, different things that they're thinking about, listen. specific fields of learning, what people do, and others, I don't know.
So we have Kibbutz Arz, which is that's a joint project. Valley have Mayor and the Mareches, whatever, working on it. But it needs everyone. And we had videos Thursday night. Chaluk and Rebbe's Torah, Maman Balpeh. So we're hanging on board, just make a say the Sichis. And we had 121 Zdarim. Sichis is not enough. It's the class done, right? Class done. Then we had the Mayor mentioned learning of Talmud Klolim, which is Project Geschmack. It's not a big project. It's a short thing. Some we take, small things some we take on. We had the mentioned Chaburis listen Sichis. We have release time, 120 phone calls to parents. B'chal Hakel. The good is that there's no VAD making a program over it. The other end is all take each thing when he could about pay, or he can make his own friend. He can make I know we had in our room sometimes like a few years ago we used to have videos randomly on Thursday night. We used to have in our room. Everyone can make their own small tests when we had in the basement. Yeah, everyone can take that price and say your hand, and you don't have to sign to a VAD or to it's dein achrayis, and do whatever kind of happens. I have a small story I heard in the Tashman test. So everyone knows the Tashman test was a very hectic year in the largest history, and I heard the Bach. I know who he was. I know who he is. He's not the biggest guy in the town. Maimon came out that week, and he decided to learn Maimon Balpeh, and he wrote into the Rebbe. The Rebbe said, "K'mayim karma nefshe." He has the mind. You can see it. He shows it to people sometimes. And the cool thing is that Kol Echad V'Inyan could have his part in the Nicen. The Rebbe also meant as Zamir Zayin Ani Shevim Chasani was a very sharp words in the Rebbe. The Rebbe's Matanis is the Fidasa Hamakal, not the Fidasa Nicen. You're making the Rebbe happy, so someone may think he's doing a small achat, a small thing. It's also important. I mean, that game the Rebbe Tasagis tut Altos mit Kent and Regel Mashiach Tzkeno.
One more thing with Gash Schmiel's Kel that I also spoke about. Shreya spoke about. I was talking to a friend today, and he was telling me that he won't be able to make it to the meeting, but he wanted to share. Is that a few months ago he made a hakata. He has a daily alarm on his phone every day. He has to listen to the Rebbe's voice for 10 minutes, and sometimes he snoozes the alarm even for a few hours. But if he gets it every single day, and said Pasha changed his whole. It changed everything the way he does everything. Every single day he has a quiz. He doesn't miss a day, he listens to 10 minutes. And he was thinking that now with Nicen, for himself, there's the other 45 days. If you don't count Friday Shabbos, it's, I don't know the exact count, but to do 12 hours, it comes out to La'erech a half hour a day. It's not a grace as a and it could manage. And something that doesn't have to stop after by Nicen. This is what's something that's so geschmack to do. It's something that you could continue. You could make a quiz and do again, and it could be something that lasts you for years to come. That you have a quiz every day, you listen to a half-hour sikha or something, and it sounds like a big deal, but we all know we have a lot of time in our day that we walk here and there, do nothing, do something. So it's not so mufrach to spend a half-hour a day. And if you start now, half-hour a day, you can easily finish 12 hours without going to long time training, without doing any of these big pools, so to speak. Just in small kima, you can do half-hour a day. You can easily catch 12 hours without Nicen. And all the anonymous. There's the big things, but every person is small, Indian, the way they do it themselves. Actually, anything you want to say? Nothing?
This is...
Yeah, if anyone else has anything, it's open mic.
Just sit down. Sit down.
Today's Rambam is about Nicen.
Shema Grama, today's Rambam.
Not only is it Shvach, is Yom Mashiach. Obviously, it's not something a lot of us are familiar with, whatever. But that's the Rebbe's Indian. The Rebbe said that's G'lot and Mashiach's Keno. So there's no. Obviously, I have this shir too tonight, but the Rebbe said the shir is one union. The other union that has to have his own quiz in Yom Mashiach. And Yom Mashiach mean it's very broad. The Rebbe said the Kotzikah and Zeh. There's a lot of things to learn, but it's something that for sure needs a lot of chizuk. And it's Zikr Achon Tzei Nicen Achon Mashiach. That the person, Yadayim is a kviz, ma'atef v'chavrusa, together learning Yom Mashiach. It could be in Aful Beis, it could be, there's a lot of sfarim which make it easy nowadays. which are Malak Sugis now Moshiach, and yeah, give it in as well.